any of these houses you can make as well before even having access to a single metal tool. In this video, I'm going to show you what builds are possible once you've entered the clay age, which just means you've dug up at least nearly a full deposit of clay. But depending on how ambitious you are, I'd recommend locating and marking down a second clay deposit on your map. We're going to start by going over what blocks you can craft / have access to during the clay age. The block showcase is going to be split into two parts. Part 1 is going to be all the blocks that you can get access to before finding clay. And part 2 are going to be the blocks that the clay age unlocks for you. Also, real quick, for the people that saw the last time I showed off blocks before the clay age, I've added a few additions to the showcase, all thanks to the wonderful comments from the previous video. Starting off with our dirt-based blocks, you can craft 6-pack dirt by just putting 6 dirt in a 2x3. Any soil should work. Some recipes in this game can be finicky, so make sure you're putting the 2x3 on the bottom half of the crafting grid, and that should give you the 6 dirt. Then we got arid pack dirt, which is same recipe except swap out the middle 2 for any sand. So that's 2 soil, 2 sand, another 2 soil, you get 6 arid pack dirt. Then we got cob, which is the most efficient dirt to block ratio. It's going to be 4 of any soil, 5 dry grass, and you'll get 10 cob. Pack dirt and arid pack dirt cannot grow grass on them, while cob will still grow grass. Then we got strewn straw, which is 3 dry grass in the middle, and then 3 soil at the bottom, and that'll get you 4 strewn straw. And then one of my favorite early game blocks is rammed earth. It's just 6-pack dirt, similar to how you made the pack dirt in the first place with soil. You just do 2x3 pack dirt, you'll get 6 rammed earth. Why I love this so much is because it's basically, it just is like a nice, smooth, lightish, stone-looking texture. And it's just dirt. It's just essentially 6 dirt at the end of the day. It's so cheap for early game building. It's just so good. And then you can even put rammed earth back into your crafting grid. And you can get access to these 5 different textures. And although these aren't something you craft, it's still worth noting that any gravel and sand you find can very well work for building materials if you just are a little creative. Like sand could be flooring in a building, or even walls if you're willing to deal with some of the gravity issues. And then moving on, we got our stone-based blocks again before you find clay. So you can make stone path stairs, and stone path slabs, all with variations of stones you find on the ground and dirt. Stone path looks like this, and then stone path slab looks like this. And then somehow without any binding material, you can make a stone fence by just doing 6 stones that you find off the ground in the grid like so. And then what's even crazy is that you can make this fanned cobblestone, not normal cobblestone, but this fanned cobblestone without any clay. All you need is to arrange your stone like this, put a gravel in the top right, and then put a sand in the top left. And you'll get 2 fanned cobblestone. And I know it's not stone based, but I didn't know where else to put this. But you can get quartz glass in the early game. So these quartz chunks you can just find randomly just on the ground in some places, similar to how you find some like the surface copper. And also you might find it on top of exposed quartz ore. You can also get these quartz chunks by just panning in a river if you know how the panning mechanics work. And to craft the pan, that's just a log and a knife and you'll get a pan. And then with these quartz chunks, if you just put 2 in the middle of the grid and then surround it with sticks like so, you'll get 1 quartz glass. And then as what this sign is here to remind me, if you find ruins like these, you can just punch the cobblestone and it will drop. And there you go. Before clay, you can have access to cobblestone. And now time for the wood items. Pre-clay edition TM. First is you can just make a tool rack with just 6 sticks like so in the crafting grid. And then we got the 2 different types of fences. We got rough hewn fence and then wattle fence. Rough hewn fence, you pick your log of choice, 2 sticks and your axe, and you'll get 8 rough hewn fence. And then the wattle fence is just going to be 5 sticks and a granite knife, and it'll achieve 5 wattle fences. Then we got the rough hewn gate and the wattle gate. The rough hewn is 4 logs like so, and then 4 sticks like so. We'll get you 2 hewn gate like so. And not likewise, the wattle gate will get you, wait, no. The wattle gate is 3 sticks, knife, and gets you a wattle gate. And then we got the ladder, which is pretty useful for details. That's just going to be sticks in a H-like pattern like so. Then say hello to the crude door. Oh, no, no, it's broken. Well, to craft this broken mess, you need 3 stick and 2 log and axe in corner, and you get crude door. If you couldn't tell, that is the downside with the crude door. It has a chance of just breaking. Then we got a layer of sticks. It's as it sounds. You lay down 9 sticks in the grid and you'll get a layer of sticks. Next, we got the quarter logs, which also you can just use normal logs for building as well. You got an axe, you can get those logs. And for the quarter logs, it's just 6 logs like so, and then axe in the top, and then you get 6 at the quarter logs. And then we got the wooden club. That's a weapon, you may ask. Well, this weapon is 1 oak log and a knife. And then you got a wooden club. I actually haven't utilized this in any of the builds I'm about to show you, but I swear, so if someone creative enough can lean these wooden clubs up against the wall and probably make it mean something in a build somewhere. And in the next area, we got the pre-clay roofing. You got a bunch of different thatch roofing shapes, which, you guessed it, you craft using thatch in a manner of different patterns. Fall roofing I'm going to show in this video, it would be too much to lay out all the recipes. Just look up the roofing, like in this case, thatch roofing thatch, click on it, and it will tell you the recipes that are in it. If you're wondering where you get thatch, it's when you use a knife to harvest tool, it will drop thatch. If you don't have access to tool, then don't you worry. You can make things with hay bales. All the thatch roofing recipes should be possible with hay bales instead of thatch. And where do you get hay bales? Well, none other than dry grass. 8 dry grass total arranged in a 2x2 like so will get you a hay bale, which the hay block itself can be pretty useful for building. So don't forget, that's also one of the blocks. And in this area, I have what I'm now dubbing the etc. piles. You can find flowers anywhere in the game, just like there's some over there. There's some over, maybe, I don't, okay, there's flowers everywhere, and you can pick them up. You can, look at this. Whoop, picked it up just with your bare hands. So easy. Spam these everywhere. It makes your builds look amazing. Totally all skill, just spam them everywhere. Similarly, berry bushes. You can find these in a lot of places. They give you food, but did you know? Just a simple punch, and not only will it release all its food, you will also pick up the bush and you can place it back down. These also make great decorations for around your houses and also provide you food, as they will still flourish with more fruit later, or berries, whatever, not fruit. And then we have vines and other plants like the papyrus, tulle, cattails. You can actually pick those up and move them. In case you weren't aware, after you harvest one of these papyrus, tulle, or cattails like normal, you then go to break it again and you'll get the root. And that's basically, you can treat it like a seed or whatever, and you can then transplant it and put it wherever you want, and then it will grow up again later. And then if you're like in a warmer climate, you might find these kind of like weird little cactuses. You could just get these with your hands. For an example of another thing you can get with your hands are these wild vines. And then we got this lovely rush mat. It's just going to be 8 papyrus and or cattails arranged in a 2x2 like so, with a knife in the corner, and they'll get you a rush matting. And then over here we got the fancy torch holder, which is a valuable item in the very early game, because until you get metal, the only way you can get these is from ruins. You can salvage these from ruins, and when you place a torch in them, the torch will never burn out. And then lastly, we got pelts. You can use pelts as almost like a carpet or rug of sorts. How you get pelts is that you take your raw hide and a lump of fat, and then you'll turn it into an oiled hide. And you keep that oiled hide in your inventory or in a container, and slowly over time it will cure and then eventually turn into a pelt. Now, something good to note is that with medium heights, you can use 1 lump of fat with 2 medium hides at the same time, and that'll get you 2 oiled hides. And with the small ones, you can do up to 4 raw hides with 1 lump of fat all at once to get 4 oil hides. So don't go wasting your lumps of fat on just 1 raw small hide or 1 raw medium hide. And now it's time to go over what blocks you get access to once entering the clay age. Starting off, we got the mud bricks, which I love them. They're such a great early game brick block. To make the mud bricks, you're going to want 1 soil in the middle, 2 of any clay on the left, 2 of any clay on the right, 2 dry grass in each corner. And that'll get you 4 dark mud bricks. And to craft the slab, you're going to have the soil at the top like this, 1 clay of any type, another clay of any type on the other side, and then 2 dry grass under the clays like so. And that'll get you 4 dark mud brick slabs. And one cool thing to note is that the tops of these slabs have this unique texture. And then to craft the light mud brick, it's similar, but instead of soil in the middle, you're going to put sand. And then at the bottom, you put the soil. And then you're going to do 4 clay of any type on the left, 4 clay of any type on the right, 2 dry grass on every corner, and then you'll get 4 light mud brick. And then we got the fabled cobblestone. No longer do we need to be pilfering ruins for them. We can now craft them. So just 1 clay of any type in the middle, and then surround it with your favorite little stone, 8 of so around the clay. And now you get you 2 cobblestone. To make the stair variant, you're going to do pretty much the exact same recipe, just leave out a stone in the top left corner. And that'll get you 2 stairs. And to make the slab, you're just going to do 3 stone across in the middle and 1 of any clay at the top here. And then you'll get 2 slabs. And then we got the forge, which you just in a U shape with any cobblestone, like so, will get you the forge. The forge is definitely one of those where you probably won't use it much, but there might be a specific situation where like this would work awesome for in building. Otherwise, just use it for smithing. And moving on, we're now in the Wattle and Daub section. First, let me show you how to use Wattle and Daub because it's not like the average block. So get yourself a wattled fence, which as a reminder, it's 5 sticks like so, and then a knife at the top, and that'll get you 5 wattle fence. You right click with your wattle. Firstly, you'll add 10, and it'll get you this texture. You add 1 more, and it'll get it more complete. And then you add the final 12th daub, and it'll get it fully completed extra smooth. So as you saw, what's cool about this block is that it's essentially 3 textures in 1, depending on how complete or finish you do it. So if you want a more weathered look or some patchy areas on your building on purpose, then you can do that, and it's pretty cool. To make yourself some brown daub, what you're going to need is any soil, any dirt in the top left. Then you're going to put 2 dry grass to the right of it, any clay of your choice below it, and then to the left, shale sand or basalt sand or slate sand. And that'll get you 12 raw daub, brown edition. The rest of these daub blocks are the exact same recipe as the first. The main difference is what sand is used, and then also some of them cannot use red clay. Ashen daub, tan daub, and light brown daub sadly cannot use red clay in their recipe. You can only use blue or fire clay to make these 3 in the middle. The rest you are free to use either fire clay, blue clay, red clay, whatever clay you want. Now going over what sand each color daub wants. With weathered brown daub, it wants either chert sand or phyllite sand. Ashen daub would like andesite sand. Tan daub asks for granite sand. Light brown daub would want limestone sand or chalk sand. Golden brown daub would like claystone sand or conglomerate sand. Orange daub asks for bauxite sand. But if you've gotten to the metal age, so this does not apply for this video, but in the metal age, once you got barrels and such, you can make orange daub by dyeing any other color daub with orange dye. Orange dye you make by putting an onion in a barrel with yellow dye, and it'll turn into orange dye. Yellow daub calls for sandstone sand, or alternatively, again, when you're in the metal age, you can dye any other daub with yellow dye to turn into yellow daub. And to make the yellow dye, it's just a barrel with water, You put an onion in there, you'll get yellow dye, and or using heather will also get you yellow dye. And lastly, green daub. It asks for peridot sand, or again, like the two before it, in the metal age, you can create green dye to dye any other daub. And to get green dye, it's water in a barrel with dry grass, and you'll get green dye. Or with Lily the Valleys, but I mean, dry grass is cheaper, so probably just use that. In the next section, we got our clay age roofing tiles. Firstly, we got the red shingle roofing. You make red shingles by just clay forming 5 red clay into 12 raw red clay shingles. And then in a pit kiln, you'll fire them into 12 fired red clay shingles. For the red shingle block, it's just going to be a 2x2 of the clay shingles. That'll get you 2. For the stairs, you just put them in an L shape like so, and it'll get 2 of the stairs. For the slabs, it's just 2 next to each other like this. You'll get 2 slabs. And for the roofing tiles, I just recommend looking up the red fire clay shingle. Click on that, and it'll show you all the tiles that you can make with these. Then we have the black shingles variant. The crafting recipes are all the same. The only difference is the shingles you're using. How you get them is from blue clay. Clay form some blue clay into the raw blue clay shingles and fire those, and their default color will be the black ones. And then over here is the fire clay variety. Again, all the recipes are the same. And then lastly for the roofing, we got slate roofing, which this is going to be dependent on if you are in an area with slate. So it's just any clay in different arrangement with the slate stone can get you slate roofing. Similar to the other roofing, I recommend just looking this up in the handbook because it's a lot of different recipes, and just look at the recipes and just follow them. And now moving on to the final section, we got the etc. piles. Again, TM. Or as I noted down on the sign, extra clay things that might work in specific situations. Ignore the floating text. We got the red brick and the gray brick chimney. The red brick chimney is just crafted with 5 bricks here, laid out like so. And then 1 red clay here, 1 red clay there. And then you got the chimney. And then it's the exact same recipe for the gray one. It's just instead you're using the blue clay. Red bricks you just get from crafting red clay like so in a 2x2. And it'll get you a raw red clay, so you do need to cook it up in a pit kiln first. And then it's the same thing for the blue clay one. You just do blue clay there, get you raw blue clay brick, and those will fire into the gray bricks. And then we got other clay items like the cooking pot, crucible, storage vessel, and you might just see these as what they're normally for. But I can assure you, with some creativity, you can use these in their non-intended ways to enhance your buildings. And then over here, we got the bloomery. Now, to use this for a permanent part of your build, that is definitely a little extra level of crazy to do early in the game, because using your fire bricks for this bloomery is honestly kind of wasteful to use in a permanent build. But I'm going to show it here because it's something you can make right now, and if you want to be crazy, be crazy. So it's going to be 6 fire clay like so, and then 1 fire click at the bottom, another fire click there, and then you got a bloomery base. And then the bloomery chimney, you put 3 in the middle like so, and then 1 on top middle there, and then you'll get the chimney. The chimney cannot be placed on the ground by itself. It can only go on top of a bloomery base. Then we got steps. I have not found a opportunity to use this in my buildings, but like with a lot of other stuff, if you're creative enough, I'm sure there's a way. To craft the steps, you will do 2 clay at the bottom and then fill the rest of the slots with either 2 cattails or 2 papyrus in each slot. And then we got 2 clay items being used for their intended purposes. So you can make flower pots and then planters, which is just bigger flower pot. And these can be very nice in your builds for obvious reasons. And then finally, we have a new light source, the oil lamp, which is just 1 bowl and 1 lump of fat, which will get you 1 oil lamp. The nice thing about these is that they don't extinguish, they'll stay lit forever, and they won't get extinguished from water, rain, whatever. The downside though is that they only have a light level of 11 versus the torch's light level of 14. So just be aware of that when you're trying to light up areas for trying to prevent mob spawning. Which, by the way, the hostile mobs like drifters can spawn in any light level of 7 or below. And those are all the things you have access to in the clay age for building. If there's anything you think I missed that is stuff you can have access to before the metal age, before copper, before that, then do let me know down in the comments. Now let's get started on some house showcases. If you want to build small in the clay age, don't you worry, we got this tiny little house for you. Equipped with its own little chimney feature for all your chimneying needs. And now that we have the power of stairs, we can put some inverted stairs like this to create an interesting patio kind of front end thingy. I'm using rough hewn gates as doors just so I don't have to deal with the chance of breaking from the normal rough door. We got the rush mat right here under the door. And then we got a pelt being used as like a rug. Gotta brush off your shoes, the mud off your shoes onto the rug. Then we got a little nice tiny compact fireplace here, which is actually kind of hard to access the actual fire pit. So this might not be the best idea because the hitbox of the wattle gate gets in the way. And then, whoa, we got glass here. Yep, utilizing the glass. I wish I knew about this previous video because I would have used some glass. But you don't need glass. You can use different sorts of fence gates similar to the door as your windows as well. Over here, I have like a side storage thing that's under the windowsill. We just got some storage vessels out here and it's some form of outdoor storage. I don't know what to call this, but it's the outdoor frontage under the windowsill storage. That's the beautiful name I give it. I utilized the rammed earth for the walls here, and then we got oak logs being like the trim / corners of the building. We got the foundation being made out of cobblestone. And we got the beautiful and typical flower spam that it totally looks good. I might have overdid it a bit with the foliage here, especially with the ferns. But then we got some lovely berry bushes in the corner here. And then as almost like a bottom trim or like just extra texture, I like to use the tool racks towards the bottom of the build here. It just helps break up the flat walls. And then I use yellow Wattle and Daub for the flooring. I should have said this before showing the first house, but none of these houses I'm going to show are going to be a step-by-step tutorial. This is more so to give you inspirations, ideas, and kind of explain what I use the blocks for, so that hopefully you can get some ideas for what to do for your early game builds or how to utilize these blocks. But moving on, we got our little hut in the forest here. Don't mind the burnt out torches, but these are like tiki torches, which I'm really a fan of. They're really nice, but just remember the torches will burn out. So with any torches, you gotta keep replacing them, sadly. This building I made mostly out of the light mud brick. I used the layers of sticks as like an awning roof thingy out here. We got the rough hewn gates as doors again. I use limestone cobblestone for the flooring. Now, a lot of these builds I have are not going to be as easily replicatable with wherever you are in your game, because like the cobblestone types and all that stuff, the stones, they're going to determine what you have access to just by the stone type in your area. But likely by the time you're in Metal Age, you'll have found some more stone types or have explored enough and then get access to more stone types. We got a little outside staircase going up to the roof, and we got a nice little relaxation roof where you can sit down and keep your worries from going astray. It's very nice and cozy. Cobblestone stairs for chairs, and a combination of fence post and a thatch roof tip to be an umbrella. Then as you see here, we got a bunch of layer sticks to kind of line the outside here. And I utilize some oil lamps here just so that they can be more discreet versus torches. And then we just line the corners and the edges back here with the berry bushes. Oh yeah, and then ladders can make very good railings on the side. Ladders are just so useful for a lot of different details, I tell ya. On to the next building. It's actually something I made in the last video, but I like it and I think it still applies. It's a little tiny castle hut of sorts. We threw some vines on it to kind of make it look aged and more taken by nature. And the one difference from last time is that I added a cobblestone flooring. We got a nice little backyard of sorts over here with a nice big layer of sticks awning. And one of the cool things with ladders I want to show you is that, so when I was originally doing this part here, I tried using fences, but the fence post would connect with the corner here and it just looked ugly. But that's where the ladders can come in because they won't connect like that. You just go in here, place them like so, and now problem solved. You can get a nice looking thing without the fence post connecting with the wall when you don't want it to. On to the next house here. I have what I call the house because it's well, it's the house looking house. It's the house that looks like a house. This is actually the first building I made for this video. Didn't want to show it first though, cause I feel like I should show the smaller houses first. But this is a more medium, good sized house. Using thatch roofing because it's, well, cheaper and easier than the clay roofing. But we're utilizing yellow wattle and daub as the main wall material here. And for the corners / trims of the buildings, we got dark mud brick here. And then as kind of the foundation block, we got the light mud brick here. And that's also what we're using for this like outer patio thingy. Something I can always recommend when you want to add interest to a building is to add different elevations. So that's what we have here, where we have to go up to actually get into the building. And we're just using the double doors here, go into here. And you can have like extra elevations inside the building as well, or do some other fun, cool stuff. With the bigger houses, you can then have fun creating like separations with rooms. Like I created a wall here. You could probably separate this into 2 more rooms. Or something I saw in the comments, which I thought was really cool, is that you can use the crude doors as like an early game like wall divider pretty easily. You can use it as like a sub divider, so not like a proper wall, and it's like really cool. So you got a little division here and it's like, oh, I need to go into this area, and it's cool. And we got ourselves this little fireplace inside. I went a little weird with the design here. I made this out of limestone cobble so that I can match the light mud brick. And then we got rammed earth for the flooring down here. In this building, I also decided to add oak logs in the roofing here to act as like support beams. It just adds a little extra interest towards the looking upwards. Oh yeah, another way to add interest to your build is not just by changing elevation, but it's to just have little things jut out as well. So that's why I have like this planter thing jutting out here, but besides the windowsill, that's why it's nice to have all these things jutting out in front of the windows or in front of your door. Like it's the common thing that I do with a lot of buildings, but like, I mean, it works, it helps. Or just do simple things like this with the tool racks, just like little interest of jutting out in some places. It can make a big difference. And another thing that also adds interest, I know this house is being used as a lot of generic building tips, but is also asymmetry can add a lot of interest. Symmetry looks nice and you definitely want to use it in places, but asymmetry can also help you a lot. That's why you can see here, we have the doors on the right side here, and then like this is asymmetrical right here, and it's just more interesting to look at. But we still have symmetry, of course, like these ladders are being symmetrical with each other right here. So like this isolated right here is very symmetrical, but the building as a whole is asymmetrical from this front view. Same here, we got asymmetrical combined view, asymmetry over here, and some more asymmetry. You don't always need asymmetry, and it just always depends. Just like with anything artistic, like there's guidelines, but you could, if you know how the guidelines work and how the quote-unquote rules work, then you can know how to break them as well. For some extra detail out here, I just placed some hay bales to kind of make it look like, well, I mean, it's just hay bale storage to make it look like we'd be working out here. There's no animals for this, but hay bales, wahoo! I also gave building a well a shot, and I think it turned out all right. We just got cobblestone blocks here, and then cobblestone fences to help round out the look. The rough-hewn fences for the supports, thatch for the roofing, and then we got some sticks in the middles to kind of symbolize like there'd be like a bucket in the middle, but I have no bucket and no water. And then over here, I decided to give a slightly bigger version a shot as well, which I think it turned out pretty okay. It's just a 2x2 hole version. We got a ladder so you can get in and out from it. Again, bucket list. Bucket list. Bucket list. Bucket list. I'm without a bucket. Oh, my world has come to an end. And also waterless. Moving on over here, we got a color swap. This is the exact same building as the one we just looked at over there, but I swapped out some of the materials just so you can see the same kind of buildings can be done with different materials sometimes. So here I went with the red shingle roofing. This is gonna take a good amount of clay to make all this, but I mean, you can go for it. And then we got light brown wattle and daub. This will require you using blue clay or fire clay for it, sadly. And then I utilized the pine logs instead of the oak logs here to kind of better fit the vibe and better match the orangey, warmer color of the red shingles. One slight difference from the previous house is that we have this kind of outline line going along the walls here, made of golden brown wattle daub. I don't know if it looks alright or not, but I just decided to make that line there to add some extra difference and interest. Let's go inside here. Oh yeah, another difference. I used claystone sand for the flooring here, and it has a nice soft feel to it. Oh, another difference that just looks a lot better because I can do it is that the red shingles have stair variants, like just normal stairs, so I can put them upside down. And so we can make the interior roof look pretty nice. Now with this house, if you see my previous video, this is another familiar face. I dug a house I made in the previous video and I changed it up a bit, swapped out some of the blocks, added new things. So we're using the black shingle roofing here, using the maple rough hewn gate so that the yellowy color can match better with the yellow wattle. I made some outdoor seating, this like nice long bench with some nice umbrellas to keep the hot sun off of you, and some more outdoor seating, but this time it's a different kind. And then we have this like outside storage thing here, and I have some over here, and it just makes this building feel more lived in and actually used. A nice planter with flowers and a watering can for the resident to water all their flowers here. We go inside here, go up the ladder. I use quarter logs for this kind of roofing up here. And then we got kind of almost like a castle lookout. Look out here, use my bow, shoot down my enemies. And then I got this fun little roofing thing here. And I put the quartz glass in the corners here, so it's like a full covered roof, but it kind of still feels a little outsidey. And now time for our water lodging. I built a house on a lake, a very tiny lake. I really like this house. It's silly, weird shaped. It's weird in so many different ways and colorful. And I just actually really like this cute, stupid house. We got a little bridge of sorts, and I'm using the cooking pots to kind of add interest to the post here and kind of bring them more at a peak. This roof shape is a bit particular and was a little annoying to get to work, but mess around enough, you can come to something that you can be like all right with. This house is also widely using the different elevations principle way more than any of my other buildings, because we go up here and we're higher elevation, and then even in the house itself we're going to go down a step in elevation, and it's just fun little stuff. Now it is a lot of awkward weird shapes in here, so a little bit inefficient spacing for putting stuff, but I don't care. Then we come out here, we step down and get onto the path out here. I utilize some claystone cobblestone stairs to just go under here to add some interest. We got dark brick as the main foundation, as also the main foundation post going all the way down into the water. And then the log posts for the bridges also go all the way down. I use the rough hewn fences here as railing, and then I use the wattle fence here to kind of help make it feel more supported. And I carry that wattle fencing along pretty much the bottom outline of the entire building to again just kind of make it feel a little bit more supporting and not like it's just standing on thin sticks, even though it technically is. Just an all-around lovely, quirky little home. with this next house, it's what I'm calling the monument house because it looks like a monument. It's not like it could theoretically be even huger and bigger, but this is still technically early-ish game, and compared to some of the other houses I've shown, this is still pretty grand. So we have this extra elevated foundation using dark mud brick. Got a little center staircase leading up to the entrance, and we have it all surrounded by potted plants and planters, and then surrounded again by an exterior fence slash keeping out device, which we've adorned and detailed with the crucibles in the corners here and also here. For this exterior keeping outy device, I also have it lined with the light mud brick as like a border of sorts. It makes it feel more solid and in the earth. And if you notice, this dirt path going here, it alternates lines with arid pactor and strewn straw to give a very minimal kind of effect that just adds that little extra interest. But as you see in the back here, we have some little like work storage stuff here, similar to one of the other houses I had. So we got a little watering can, some of our bowls and watering things. Got some ingot molds or maybe sandwich holders, whatever you want them to be. And an entrance to a basement. Ah, there's no spooky ghost in here. What our basement for other than to scare me? And then we got the ladders that can take us up into the actual building. Use a pelt as a rug again, or as a doormat, I guess, more so. We can go up here to the roof, and we got this nice little roof area. You could probably even throw up some umbrellas and some seating areas. And look, we can look through the monument hole. We can look down on the plebeians beneath us, all who are not worthy of our time. This sort of building works also amazingly on RP servers if you want to start a religion or something. I don't know. I don't know what you want to do in your games. For extra details up here, I used raw cooking pots, raw planterns, and even a raw storage vessel to add just that extra detail and also kind of slopiness to I don't know how to explain it, but it works. Extra cool, nice little details. This part here, I don't know how to explain it. I kind of just messed around, did a lot of little shapey thingies, and yeah, here we are. I think it looks okay. And we got a little arch here with the stairs and stuff. I could have made the main walls out of a different material, but I did choose rammed earth because one, I do think it looks nice and it works, but two, because for a building like this, which is a little bigger than some of the other buildings, it would have been pretty costly to make this all out of cobblestone or out of like other stuff. So just to make the building cheaper, and it still works, I used rammed earth. With that, I don't have any more buildings to show you, or that is what I would say if I was lying to you, because right in front of me, right here outside of your view is, wait, hold on. Look, another building. So right here, I have something that I do not recommend attempting in the early game before metal. This is not recommended at all, but it's possible if you have the time, the willingness, the dedication to do some of the tedious resource gathering and crafting that is needed to make this for the standards of the early game, then go for it. There's also so much glass, so you either have to be lucky with finding the quartz on the ground or do a bunch of panning for quartz. But yeah, if you couldn't tell, this is a modern house style of build. I decided that I wanted to give trying to build a modern house a shot, partially because there was a comment in the previous video saying that they're trying to build a modern house and they don't know what materials to use or stuff. I don't know, something about a modern house. Now, if I was doing this with blocks I could have access to in the Metal Age, then I could probably make it look a little nicer, have access to even more blocks that would work. But all things considered, especially for a first attempt, I think it's pretty all right. We have limestone as sort of like a huge foundation going on here, almost also like a given garage feel, because we can go in here We got some space here. We can go in here. We got some more garage-like space here. You can fit so many Lamborghinis or whatever nonsense. Whatever's the current topical popular rich person car. I don't know what it is. We can go back out here. We can go down these stairs, the exterior stairs. We got a path lined with berry bushes. Some flowers everywhere. Some little extra details on the side of the walls here. We can then follow stairs up here. We got some nice little planters bringing flowers into this modern building. And we go into here, and now we're indoors. Whoa! You got a little higher step up elevation room up here with a mostly glass wall. That is very cloudy, hard to see out of. They must never clean their windows here. We got a little outdoor patio, roof patio thingy here with sort of like a, I don't know what you would want to call these, like beach towels, lounge chairs, whatever, to kind of sunbathe in the sun under your umbrella. And then we go and take the interior staircase up to over here. We got even more glass walls here and more room for whatever the people with money do. And then we go out here and we got another roof access area with some more the sunbathing spots and another umbrella. And the back side is not necessarily meant to be looked at. Don't look at it. But yeah, you can do this if you really wanted to and wanted to be crazy. I would say you should wait till you got metal tools though to bother with something like this. And now for realsies this time, that is the last house I have to show you. I hope these houses were able to help give you some inspiration or ideas, or just give you some cool, like, whoa, I didn't think to use a block or thing like that. Whoa, that's cool. Yeah. So if you have any ideas of yourself that I didn't show here or that you thought of, definitely leave them down in the comments of like how to use certain blocks, or if like I don't know, it was just leave your cool fun ideas down in the comments below. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. See you later. Bye. Who's gonna blink first, you or me?